Welcome. If you're new to my channel, welcome. No, I'm stealing Curtis Connor's thing. Welcome to this video where we think introspectively, think differently, and we're a different person than we are when we come into it. You know what I mean? So, let's just jump into the topic because today I want to talk about boredom. Anyways, let's get into it. While at the same time, I cure. This smells so good. This is slime I got in South Korea. Melon soda and oh my god. Can I just say the slime market in freaking Korea? Shit. This grinds my gears in the good way. They do something different to their slime. Cause you know what? Tell me why it came up separately. So it came out with the jelly and then it came with the cream and they had the whole cherry on top, which I kind of lost, and then when you mix it together, it smells like melon soda. Like it's like, this is the dream. If heaven is anything, it'd be this. I wish I can just freaking get the smell and just put it out there. It's so freaking, I just want to eat it. Whew, that was close. Anyways, let's get in the topic of boredom. You're watching this or you come across this, and I think you in some level, we both understand what it means with this society's obsession with being productive, you know? And a lot of people talked about this in the past. A lot of people talked about how being productive can be detrimental. Being overly productive can be detrimental. Okay, yeah. And I think that's why, you know, people go on vacations. We have breaks. You know, we have the school. It's a 9-month cycle for a reason, right? We need basically time to recover and not pick at our brains every day. But I think the concept of being boredom, doing absolutely nothing productive with your time, if anything, the opposite. Let me tell you this. How many times in the past year have you gone on felt so fucking bored that you ended up doing nothing, like absolutely nothing, not even fucking touching your phone? My point is that I think the whole concept of boredom has changed within our generation with basically social media. I want to say TikTok, social media, the internet, texting, iPhones, the whole existence of this stuff makes it so hard to actually be completely and unbotheredly bored. That's what I'm saying. I feel like boredom is now become a very foreign phenomenon. Like, you can be bored, right? But your mind is always running on something. So when you're doom scrolling, and you know, you kind of are on there because you have nothing better to do, but in reality, you're kind of doing something, you know? You're doing something with your time, with your energy, with your like attention. Your attention is elsewhere. I think this is the sign. This is your sign. It's okay to be bored. It's okay to do nothing with your time. I think as long as you're not distracting yourself from doing nothing, I think that's kind of what it is. Because at the end of it, I think all of these tools that we have at our disposal are now used against us. And that is an awesome government conspiracy type-ish. I think it's a well-known fact that companies constantly are trying to get our attention. That's where the money is. It's fighting for our attention. It's fighting for our time to just look, understand, potentially buy their product. And I think why it's working is because it's so easy nowadays to capture our attention. It's so easy to capture our attention for a long periodically of time, kind of. And I think this is what is kind of used against us, because when you have so many people, so many things, so many big things larger than us fighting for our time and energy and our attention, we have attention away from ourselves, what we really feel like, what we really think. And I think that's kind of what's slowing the progression with a lot of people's development and a lot of the development of humanity. Is this too much? Am I going too big? Am I getting philosophical? But I think that is why I say that it's, if anything, you should be bored. I think boredom, that's kind of where you're able to really understand what you want in a way. And it stops becoming this cycle where you're running from your thoughts. And oh my gosh, if anyone knows how it's so good to run away from your thoughts, it'd be me. I'm so tired of hearing like people, older people, kind of mock our generation and put us down because we have this grasp on technology, or technology has a grasp on us. And I think a lot of people have figured it out, but not everybody has. And I think the very fact of like how much power we really do have as individuals to kind of change our own lives and change the lives of other people around us. And I don't mean in a way of like starting a petition to like plant more trees or to stop global warming from happening. It's, I think, more subtle than that. And it kind of starts with acceptance of existing. To accept that you are human, to accept that life is short but also long, to accept that in this very existence, you know, you don't have to do anything to prove, to disprove that you're living a life. I think of so many people pressure themselves into doing something, and that's why they end up in this state of like stagnation. Is that a word? Just being stagnant, because there is this pressure externally and internally to move, and you can't keep on pumping on the brakes. What? You can't keep on, starting an engine with no oil. I don't think and I think the pressure to exist, so the pressure to be productive is kind of the pressure to prove existence, you know? How many times have you heard like the fact that, you wear a really cute outfit and it's like you haven't worn it outside, you haven't really wore it? It's like the fact is that like it's almost our reality is measured by how many people we interact with, or like if we're interior or exterior, or who saw us or who talked to us. That's really how it comes down to, because you could exist and not. That's why there's a whole thing of being MIA, you know? Because you haven't on post to haven't posted on social media, it didn't happen. You didn't live a life, it didn't happen. And how it continues to be. And I don't think I do think there's everything wrong with that. I'm not gonna backpedal. I think the only real problem that this people nowadays really have is that pressure to prove that they're doing something. You don't really have to do anything, it's like all these, to be successful, there's that whole idea of success, right? To be successful, to be an entrepreneur, to be like Steve Jobs or the greatest, right? These people, they did things, they worked on themselves, they fucking used any ounce of their energy to do what they were gonna do. And yeah, you can read their memoirs, try to copy what they did to get some same level of success, but if you think about it, you weren't walking in their shoes every day. You don't know what their everyday day really looked like. Maybe most of which were productive, but maybe most of which just consisted of just doing fucking nothing and being fucking nothing. But they were great anyway. And I think it takes a certain level of self-satisfaction to understand that what you do isn't correlated to how much you exist. Do feel be, or do go be, go do be philosophy is that you go, you do something, and you be. And I think I used to stress out so much when I went on vacations or I went away, because I felt like I needed to do things to prove that I've been there and I've seen it. Not really thinking to myself that going there is enough on its own. And just being in a different entry, seeing things different, that's enough, you know? I don't need to literally meet a super hot foreign guy when I go to Italy to prove that I lived this Italian vacation, you know? I'm just so sick of feeling like I always need to do something. I'm so sick of feeling like if I'm not doing something, I'm not enjoying it. I'm not doing my hobbies. And I think a part of it is with yeah, I can sit here and blame social media all I want, but I think the culture has changed with, you know, people having hobbies and people having like things they like to do. I think it's become a little bit more like people have people to see, people have things to do with other people create things with other people, and I think that's beautiful. It's fucking beautiful. But at the same time, when you're not doing that, you know, what are you doing in your free time? What are you doing that's gonna shape up the rest of your life? And some people need to light that fire in their ass to remind them that, yeah, you exist and you need to do something with your life because you're existing. But I think this is for the people that already do and think a lot, already feel so much, and just need to just be. To just look outside and just appreciate life for what it is. Because when you're constantly looking and doing and being involved in things, you don't really notice the way, you know, the leaves are blowing in the wind, or a real sunset. You know, I recently, I think about a week ago, for the first time in my life, I have actually seen the sun set. I'd never seen it, and it was like when I was actually out, and I was like living in Paris, and I think I was like out somewhere, and like the first all this mall, which is like the center of Paris, and I just watched the sun set, and I was like, holy fuck, that's so cool. I just watched the earth rotate in real time, and it was really cool to have seen that, because I think I'm not really into science. I don't know, I mean, I am, but like in the way that's like, oh, is this fucking interesting? But you kind of forget that we're just like particles and matter, and that, you know, we're kind of the atoms that make us up, that we are made up of, are like almost the same atoms that make up most of the things in this universe, this world. Excuse me, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. And once I remember that, everything kind of dissolves into one big flow of like, shit, this is all there is. And it's true, this is all there is. But I think when you get so caught up with this concept of like material things, you get caught up in doing, you get caught up in proving, you get caught up in whatever secondary emotion, you know, you can even get caught up with fucking, I don't know, partying or hedonistic things like that nature. Like, it's better than being bored. And it's kind of like, wait, being bored is a privilege. Remember that. Being bored is literally a privilege that you have. right now. And I think it is in your right to enjoy every lick of it, because people get rich and do so much work so they can get to a point of being bored. And being bored isn't necessarily, you know, I already said too much about this, but it's a statement. It's the testament to your life. You owe it to yourself to be bored. And you know, you may be telling me, well, what if I don't want to be bored? Maybe what I want to be constantly distracted. That is a whole nother issue. That is a whole nother conversation we must be having, because boo-boo, if you need to feel like you need to be bored, or you need to distract yourself from boredom, then maybe you're a go person. You know, maybe you always need to be on the run. But you need to ask yourself, what are you running away from? What are you running away from? Because it could even be our own thoughts that we're afraid of hearing. And I think thoughts are thoughts. Thoughts are thoughts. They're just gonna exist whether you like them or not. Thoughts about yourself, thoughts about the world, thoughts about other people that just happen to just live up here. And people tell you to meditate and all that, and do all those mindfulness things so you can just live in the present and live without thoughts. But the reality of the situation is you're always probably going to be thinking something one way or another, whether you realize it or you know. And I think when you're in that state, I think it's kind of like okay to just accept the thoughts as they come, whether if it is about other people or about the past or about the memories, because either way they'll tell you something about yourself or how you feel in that moment. And I think that's another way to get in touch with yourself, get in touch with just existing, because you are a person, and no matter what happens, you are going to feel things and think things, and you can't really take that away from yourself, you know? And I think so many people want to. I think so many people around me are just like ashamed of feeling or seeing things in a certain kind of way, even though that's really how they feel. To just exist, to just be, to just sit in your room, sit outside, and just be. And you're just like, wow. You can do that for a week, you can do that for 2 months, and then bada bing, bada boom. Whether you like it or not, life is gonna happen. And maybe you did nothing, but in those moments of nothing, something was created. You know? Through these feelings and these things and these boredoms, we find inspiration for other things, ideas for other things, or life lessons learned. Just accepting that kind of boredom, accepting that kind of lifestyle can bring so much, more than people can realize. And I know for myself, as an overthinker and overanalyzer, someone that just, their thoughts are always running, I think I've come face to face for the first time this kind of boredom that I experienced probably none other than I did in childhood, when I was like really young. But in the end, it's kind of like, it's that, you know, how you choose to use your time, how you don't choose to use your time, what you choose with your life, it's up to you. And I think what I'm preaching, it's like, what's the whole hoopla of just, I don't know, turning off that phone and being. That's right, you're on a mission after this. But in all seriousness, I think this was even a good reminder for me to feel better about doing nothing. Because in the end, I think there's always, especially when you come in a household that kind of pressures you a lot, there's always gonna be that voice in the back of your head that's gonna make you be more, when being less is kind of more in itself. You know, life is long, short, but it's long, and I want to enjoy every second of it. So, if you like this video, please help me out. I am somebody who really likes to tap into really deeper topics about life and humanity and just people, but in a way that kind of relates it, like you and me. And our lives. And I find it kind of nerve-wracking sometimes, like being this vulnerable on the internet, because you're being vulnerable on the internet, and a lot of people are on the internet, and a lot of people you don't know that sees you being vulnerable on the internet. But I don't, you know, I think it's important to share these thoughts, because you never freaking know. You never freaking know who's listening, who's helping, who relates, or who's just there like, that's what I was thinking. The exact same thing. So, yeah. Thanks for watching so much. It really means the world to me. And have a good day. Good vibes. What was that?